Execution! Rip his head off. There we go, boys. That is how it's done, men. Get his legs! Get his legs! Oh, right through him. And see, that's the thing, right? When you're using a chain sword, when you're getting somebody, you gotta like come up with it slow. Like a lot of people want to swing it around like it's a lightsaber, but no, you gotta come down and let it grip, you know what I mean? Or you gotta come up with it slow. Like that was about, I'd give that a 7 out of 10. Imagine having your own claw ripped off and shoved down your throat. The level of disrespect.
Allied casualty. Loading magazine.
Like, of course, like always, all the YouTubers were like, the Vanguard's going to be the most powerful class. And they were completely wrong. Look, I am telling you. I'm like level 8 or 9. I've tried most of the classes. I've tried the jetpack guy. I've tried the flame, or all of them. And I'm telling you, the most tactical, right, is by far the tactical. The tactical is the most tactical. Like, you can go in and actually make... He has so many different weapons, right, that you can build different guns once you unlock stuff for different situations. So if you got a lot of those fly guys, you can get something like the plasma rifle, which does a lot of damage. Or... And like this ability, until people learn how that works, that is overpowered as hell too. Like this thing marks the enemy and then weakens them. So I'm running a heavy right now, the heavy bolter, and I throw that in, right, and I hit a couple people with it, and then I just start laying into them. Oh, I almost got around him. I think his shield absorbed my hand grenade too. Like when you first start playing this game, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it feels real basic, right? Like when you start playing the multiplayer. It's going to feel slow, especially compared to a lot of stuff that's out today. But like once you start learning, like that little roll right there is so overpowered. Like it is. Oh, I thought that dude was coming for me. Yeah, that roll's overpowered. So yeah, if you don't you don't have the jetpack when you're playing tactical, right? You don't have the grappling hook. You don't have a really cool shield to block you. But you can just spam the roll, and if you're an old Gears of War player, that roll is going to carry hard. That roll will get you out when they're coming down to dive on you. The hammer guys, you can roll out of the way, and then most of the time there's a little delay from where the jetpack people like slam the ground before they can actually start swinging. Like, so you're stunned, but there's like a little millimeter delay in there where they can't start swinging you yet. So if you spam that flip out of the way, they'll start spamming the air, and you just flip back a couple times and you can just unload on them. So like I don't think people understand at all the complexities of this game yet. And once you start getting teams that actually run together, like this is going to be a very, very, very competitive game. They just need new maps, right? More maps. Game modes are fine for now. They do need, what's it called?
Perhaps my next pilgrimage to Olympus
To rebalance the spawns. I'd love to see, like I said, I'd love to see the customization come over from the PvE mode into here. Because there is stuff, like I like the melee combat, but like there's a lot of sword spam in the game right now. Like when people are spamming their sword, like you can sit there and keep blocking it, but since you don't have like that stun that you get in the multiplayer mode, like it's almost impossible to counter somebody who's like just sitting there spamming. So there needs to be like they need to put that parry system in there, and it needs to have a stun for the swords. And then on the opposite side, right, I think that the swords need to get a little bit more health because they're supposed to regain your health, I think, when you get a kill with them. I think they're supposed to redo your health. But yeah, the all spec span, it marks your enemies. But yeah, like if you're playing as the Vanguard and you dive in, like you can start going off and meleeing, right? But you don't get enough health back. So you might take one, but if they start team shooting you, you instantly melt. So like if it was just a little bit more and you actually gained a decent amount of chunks back into health, I think that would actually make the melee way better. So like you get the prairie and then you get the increased health, right? When you get back, and I think that'd make the melee combat way more engaging. One issue about the bull or the Vanguard that I have is like his mobility's great, but there needs to be an option to cancel, I think, the grapple where you don't automatically do the slam, right? Because right now, when you grapple with the Vanguard, he does the slam, and you can't use it to like get over walls or do like crafty plays with a grappling hook. And I don't know if that's a design choice on their end to specifically limit mobility, but it would just, I think that'd be an improvement. I haven't played Bulwark enough to really know. Sniper, haven't touched it all. That's not my play style. Or I'm sorry, I haven't played Heavy enough to know. Bulwark, I'm enjoying. One other suggestion for anybody out here that's going to jump into the multiplayer is, like in PvE, you kind of have to focus on one class, but like when you're playing a match, like my suggestion would be to pick out like two that you like a class that you can go around, get kills with. So like it'd be like the tactical assault or the Vanguard, and then I'd break them into like Bulwark, Sniper, and Heavy, and I'd find one of those three, right? Because sometimes your team will stack up heavy on DPS, and like you won't have like a Bulwark to push. And while these guys alone aren't that big of a threat, like if you have a Bulwark and you have your like tactical behind them, protecting them, throwing out their damage in front of them and marking everybody, like your team will stay up for a long time. So like the Bulwark is, I think, in a good spot. It hasn't really stood up to me. Snipers, with how the movement is in this game, snipers are really overpowered. Like any type of range weapon right now is really overpowered because you like right now, especially right now, people haven't figured out how to roll and everything. So you can pretty much just hold a haul and lane that haul, and then you're just nothing's going through. I think it's like 1 or 2 shots with the starter sniper, and then if you get the las and you scope it up, I'm pretty sure this ends up being like a 1-shot kill. But and then the other thing, like, I don't think people have realized yet, like, if you like to sneak around and everything, the bolt carbine, you actually get the bolt carbine on the sniper. And I've played against somebody who did this, and they were playing with invisibility and the bolt carbine, and that was very, very hectic too, because they could go invisible, and the invisibility in this game is really overpowered. So, like, it's hard to see anybody invisible at all. Like, you get a little bit of a shimmer, but, like, there's been times where, like, especially if you throw out an ability or something and you have some lights on your screen, you can't track them at all. So they'll use their invisibility. That's their power. They'll get up close with that submachine gun, and then they'll unload a clip into you and then melee you, and you're dead before you know it. But, yeah, right now if I'd have to rank them, I'd say that right now the tactical is the most versatile in the game by far. Like this, like I have the heavy bolter so far. Then I can, like, what you can't do with the other classes that you can do with the tactical is you can change your weapon for every playstyle. If the team's right, if you want a close range gun, you got the bolt carbine, or I'm sorry, you got the melta rifle. And this thing is just going to drop people. Like, it's like a shotgun that shoots molten lava, basically. So if you played within a single-player game, you know how deadly this thing's going to be. So Like, you can do that for up close. Then you got a striker bolt if you need to get some range on people, right? And then this right here, once you get this, like, if you have this and you get into a match where people ain't ranked up, stuff like this is where you're going to have a problem, right? Because this plasma incinerator, you can charge it up, and if it's just like the PvE version, then it's going to obliterate people. But yeah, overall, when it comes to PvP in this game, it's fun. Like I said, there needs to be some work. The classes are entertaining. I've seen a lot of people, they're focusing on the hammer. Don't forget that the chainsaw is a very good choice too with the what's it called? With the assault class. Like, the hammer's a really good weapon, but if you're running solo and your team's not organized and grouped together, so you're not getting in group fights, I'd stay away from the hammer because it's just way too slow, especially in a 1v1. And I think the combos are really going to come into play on the hammer. You can't just sit there and spam it. You need to figure out whatever the combo is to make that thing slam on the ground. But it is really overpowered. This is going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how good this is. But, yeah, right now that's my thoughts about PvP and Warhammer. If you're a Gears of War fan, if you like old school shooters, I highly recommend this game. But, yeah, if you guys enjoyed everything, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't, give me a follow. And I'm out of here till next time.